I'm really not into dreams anymore, okay? I'm into fucking nightmares. You guys with me on that? You gotta end somebody's dream. You gotta take their job. You gotta take their heart. Are you guys clear about this NFL shit now?
Commitment to excellence. There's a commitment to excellence. The greatest players. We could get the greatest coaches. The great games we've played in. The flame that would burn brightest here is the will to win. Is the will to win. Is the will to win.
Your commitment to excellence and your will to win will endure forever. You were magnificent.
But the thing that I like this week, that was better than last week, nobody gave up, so that was huge for us.
The greatness of the Raiders.
Raiders!
Look, happy holidays, Raider Nation nationwide. Let's go. Get some.
Raiders!
Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm Hardcore Raider. Thank you guys for tuning in to my channel. We're going to bring on Raider Critique here. We're going to, talk about some football, of course. Wanted to really try to do a tribute show to Ken Stabler. Earlier I was looking on Twitter. I didn't see anything from the Raider organization to say rest in peace, Kenny Stabler. Not saying they don't care, but, I have a lot of questions about things as I get older. One of the things is like, how do, I'm 40, I'm up there, but I know there's guys like older than me. And just as we get older and these Raider greats, like either passed away or are passing away, unfortunately, and we're on the Ken Stabler, anniversary when he passed away, July 8th, 2015. I look at it and I'm like, how can we not forget the greats that played this game for the sports teams that we love, especially the Raiders? As time goes on, how can we always remember not just what it means to be a Raider, but what that player did for this organization and what the greatness was of the Raiders? I look at it and I'm like, man, I know there's like, the NFL did the Ken Stabler, a football life. And I think they did a great job. But, I would like to see like almost like a movie. I'd like to see an hour and a half, 2 hours dedicated to Kenny Stabler. The guys that are still alive that played with him, the Phil Villapianos, the George Atkinsons, the Fred Blendikoffs, the guys that are still on this earth. I want to hear from them what those guys meant. I want to hear a documentary from professionals that have the means to put, to air actual NFL footage of the great, Ken Stabler. I like to say the Snake, but technically it's Snake. But Ken Stabler, the Snake, I look at it and I'm like, I just have so many questions about Ken Stabler because it was before my lifetime, but I do respect what he did for the Raider organization. I looked at it and I'm like, is it possible that Ken Stabler was the greatest Raider to ever suit up in the silver and black? That's one of the questions I have for myself. Is Ken Stabler possibly the greatest Raider to ever suit up in the silver and black? The old school Raider. He embodies what it meant to be a Raider. Guys in my lifetime, guys that are my age, they got cheated out of being able to witness and see firsthand the greatness of one Ken Stabler. To see him play and his action and everything that he did for this organization. How is it that time goes on and we forget how great these people were that bled silver and black for our team, that did everything they could for our team, that willed us to win a championship for this team? The guys that built the true Raider Nation, the guys before my lifetime. When you look back and the yesteryear is gone, the yesterday day is gone, and these legends are forgotten about. They are. They're forgotten about. And people in my lifetime and people younger than me, they got cheated out of life to never see the real greatness of Ken Stabler and what he meant to the NFL and meant to the Raiders. But the older cats that one day, unfortunately, will leave this earth and not be able to tell the history and how darn great Kenny Stabler was. But make no mistake about it, Ken Stabler is quite possibly the greatest Raider to ever wear the silver and black. We all know from the named games that he participated in to the stats, the Super Bowl of 1976, everything that Ken Stabler embodied to be a Raider helped build the foundation of the passion that the Raider Nation has for our team, even through the last 20 years of really not doing very well, to say the least, to put it nicely. The guys like Ken Stabler that are forgotten about as time goes on. How will we in Raider Nation not forget the greats like Kenny Stabler and what he meant to this organization and the passion that we all have still to this day after all these years? So with that being said, I just want to say rest in peace to Ken Stabler. I was cheated by not being able to see your greatness, but make no mistake about it, my dad was a Raider fan. My dad, my father, who's no longer here, he was a Ken Stabler fan. And that passion that embedded in my own father, who always, every day, my own dad wore a Raiders hat. I'll show you. I have this hat hanging up nearby. This was my dad's hat. This thing was my dad's hat. It's so faded, man. This thing is so faded. But my dad always, every day, 7 days a week, wore a Raiders hat, no matter what he did, no matter where he lived. So again, how will we remember the greats of yesteryear? Now, to me, and we'll bring Raider Critique on here, and we're going to break some stuff down, but I'll put it here real quick. To me, it's none other than video footage, photo footage, the historians that know football, that can talk about it, that were able to blessed to witness the greatness of guys like Ken Stabler. But what happens when the historians pass away? Then all we have left are video footage, if it's even able to be found, and pictures. So to me, when I look at it, and some of you guys know I started a new channel talking about like card collecting and stuff like that, kind of getting my Raider collection up. To me, there's no better way than to have an amazing card like this one that covers that. And that card right here, the Ken Stabler, this is his rookie card. Ironically, you'll find this card in the 1973 Topps pack, but it's of the 1972 season. And so even though that I got cheated out of being able to see his greatness, if I can do something as simple as get a card of him to remember him, I will at least have that picture to always have that memory of what this guy did for the Raider organization. And so with that being said, I hope you guys know that this guy was a legend and probably the best quarterback the Raiders have ever had to wear our colors, and also to help the Raiders get our first championship, that we all ride these coattails of our parents and our grandparents, that were Raider fans, or the ones older than us that got to see the greatness of the Raiders, where a lot of us younger fans, we got cheated. We haven't been able to see it. So it's been tough. It's been real tough. But if I can get a card like this in my football collection, guys, this means the world to me personally. If I look at the fandom of a card like this and my like Babe Ruth of my own personal card collection, I would love to be able to have a card that would be a graded PSA 10. I'll try to blow this up here for you guys so you guys can see this. But look at if you had a perfect graded card right here for Ken Stabler, a PSA 10, it's like over $10,000. And there's like a PSA, there's only like 3 showing up here. But that's crazy, guys. That's insane. I mean, I would be happy with a PSA 9, So, a card like a Ken Stabler card would be a huge thing for me in my own personal collection. So I've teased you guys. I'll be honest. I've teased you guys a lot here. Okay. The last weeks with my card collecting, asking you guys to go subscribe to my other channel, which I would appreciate it if you guys would subscribe. But I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret here. I'm done teasing you guys. I'm done teasing you guys of what I'm gonna do on my other channel. It is about sports, fandom, sports memorabilia. Okay. But it's also about, card collecting. And within that, I'm going to show you guys this pack right here. Okay. I'm going to open when I get to, we'll say 100 subscribers. I was going to make it be 500 subs. You get my other channel up to 100 subscribers, I will break open this pack. This pack is what's known as a 1973 pack. I bought this weeks ago. I haven't opened it. I'm not going to open it now. We'll open it on a live stream. Okay. But on my other channel, this is important because that 1973 year would be an opportunity. So I haven't opened this yet. I've been itching, guys. I've been itching. But this is supposed to be a sealed 1973 pack of football cards in my hand right here. Meaning I can possibly get a Ken Stabler rookie card in this pack that I will break on my other channel. And Raider Critiques Backstage has been patient. I appreciate that. But please subscribe to my other channel because now I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you guys. If you subscribe to my other channel and you're live in the chat when we break this pack open, hopefully I got a Ken Stabler rookie, but it's bigger than just trying to get a card. It's about the memory. It's about the greatness of what Ken Stabler did for this organization. And this is my Babe Ruth of my collection is a Ken Stabler rookie. And so within that, I'm going to show you here. This is a checklist right here of what you could find in this pack of cards. This is a Raiders checklist in the background for 1973 of players that you could find in this pack of cards. So you have a Ken Stabler rookie that we might be able to find in this pack, but you also have an Art Shell rookie card, and you also have a Horace Jones rookie card. And when you look at this list of the greats that were on that 1973 team and those cards you could get, listen to the list. Just listen closely. It's quite possibly this Raiders team was the greatest Raiders team that ever existed in our franchise. And the players after that, George Atkinson, Pete Benazak, Fred Belendekloff, George Blanda, Bob Brown, Willie Brown, Raymond Chester, Marv Hubbard, Horace Jones, Carlton Oates, Jim Otto, Art Shell, Mike Ciani, Charlie Smith, Ken Stabler, Jack Tatum, Art Thomas, Gene Upshaw, Phil Villapiano, and then Neiman Wilson. It's insane. The list of Raider greats for the 1973 pack of cards is crazy. And it's based off of the previous season. So if you don't know, the previous season that year was 1972. Is there any Raider fans out there who remember the 1972 season? Because the 1972 season had this card in that pack as well. And this, I'll take my, give me a second. I'll take myself off of here. But look at this card that you could also get in this pack. This is the Immaculate Reception game. Us and Raider Nation calls it the Immaculate Deception. But you could get this card as well. Steelers 13, Raiders 7. There's been so many games that are just historic with Ken Stabler, and Ken Stabler was part of that game. And that 1972 season was no joke. Like, this pack of cards has some of the best Raider players that you could find. And I'm not going to go over all of them right now because this is a Ken Stabler tribute show. So what's the point of this? What's the point? Who cares? I don't collect cards. Who cares, right? Nobody cares, and I get it. Not everybody's into this stuff, and you don't have to be. So what I'm going to do, I have bought 2 sets of the list, right? The list over here, somewhere over here, guys. It's all backwards, right? The list over here, okay? going all the way down. I bought every single card. I handpicked every single card out. And I bought one set of these cards for myself, and I bought another set to give away on my new channel. You'll have to be subscribed. And it's over, like, I've handpicked them out, so hopefully they're better cards, because it's hard to find a good set of cards, guys. It is. So you're going to get a George you're going to get literally all these cards I listed off: George Atkinson, Pete Bonanzak, Fred Blendikoff, George Blanda, of course, the rookie. I'm giving you a rookie card for Ken Stabler, the rookie card for Art Shell, the rookie card for Horace Jones, Phil Villapiano, Jack Tatum. You will get, whoever wins when I do this show, you will get a complete set of all these cards. So I've tried to be nice. I've teased you guys. I'm not teasing you anymore. I'm letting you know what I'm going to do. But the channel's going to grow to more than just Raider fans. But you got to be subscribed. You got to be live in the chat if you want to be part of that. I'm giving you guys first heads up. I could make this to, like, when I get a 500 or 1,000 subs and then give it away. But I want it to be to a Raider fan in Raider Nation. So again, I'm giving this complete set away all the way down the line. I spent over $150 just on the set I'm giving away, let alone I have a set for myself. And because it was the Immaculate Reception year of 1972, you're going to get some super stud cards. Something that I decided to do because of my love and fandom for Ken Stabler. Because when I looked at this and I was like, I want to get back into card collecting, and who's my Babe Ruth and who do I really want to have in my collection, the guy at the very top of the list was none other than Ken Stabler. And it's hard to find good looking, clean cards on Ken Stabler. So enough with the card stuff. Hopefully you guys go subscribe over there. But I'm telling you, there's no one better and greater that ever wore our colors than the one and only Ken Stabler, the Snake. With that being said, appreciate everybody in the chat. We had JT Money, got Watts Raider up in here. What's up, Watts Raider? Hopefully you're doing good, man. We need to do a group show coming up here. I know we got a bunch of other in here. Southside, Bugsy Raider, man, Otis. So, I know we've been carrying on, but let's get this party started. I will let you guys know right before I bring on Raider Critique as well. Anybody else I missed, I apologize, man. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the new channel. I'm going to break open tonight on my other, as soon as I get done on this channel, my new channel, we're going to break open 25 cards. It's all Raider cards. These are all Raider cards we're going to open on my other channel. So excited for that. But we definitely wanted to do a tribute show to the one and only Ken Stabler. So we're going to break down some stats, kind of go over our appreciation for what Ken Stabler meant for the Raiders, the Raider Nation. I wish the Raider organization would have done something like this, but it's all good. We're stepping up to the plate. We're going to do the best we can with limited resources and whatnot. And with that being said, let's bring on the one, the only Raider Critique, man. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, man? And hey, thank you everybody for showing up over here at the Hardcore's channel for this tribute for Kenny the Snake Stabler, man. We're pretty much one of the only ones who are actually going to get out here and do this. I don't know why the Raiders didn't say anything on Twitter. I didn't see any post on Instagram, anything like that. But I am extremely privileged and honored that you would bring me on this channel for this very show, man. And because of that, like he was saying, we have limited resources. But if you do your research on Snake, look, he was, before DC4, he was the guy who held all the franchise records for this team. All right. He was drafted in 1968 and they sat him for 2 years. So as a matter of fact, I'd like to go ahead and go over to an article that's over at Raiders.com that kind of explains Kenny Stabler to an overall. So if you guys will just bear with me here, I'll go ahead and present that.
Yeah, I do want to say, Watts Raider, man, thanks for tuning in, bro. We love you, man.
Love having Watts here, man.
Disappointed on this coaching staff, but you're always our homie, bro, no matter what. So all love, man. I appreciate you tuning in here, man. And go ahead.
Go ahead. I hope everybody can see it. Does that look good enough, or does it need to be enlarged?
I think no, I think that's good.
Okay.
And make sure you guys go subscribe to my other channel. Again, I'll put it one more time in here. I'm going to go live as soon as this gets done and break open some Raider cards. I don't BS as much on there. We just opening Raider cards, stuff I've been buying, stuff like that. But yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't know, or of course, if you're like me, you were born way after this guy played for us. You know, the Oakland Raiders in the second round of the 68 AFL NFL draft selected quarterback Ken Stabler, a 3-time All-American at Alabama. Stabler spent his first 2 seasons in the pros on the Raiders' inactive reserve squad before joining the team in 1970 as a backup to Oakland's All-Pro quarterback, Daryle Lamonica. Now, although his playing time was steadily increased each of the next 3 seasons, it wasn't until 1973 and after that the Raiders lost their 2 of their first 3 games that Stabler became the starter. Now, that year he went on to lead the Raiders to the AFC Championship game, a 27-10 loss to the Miami Dolphins. Now, it was, however, the first of a string of 5 consecutive years that the Stabler-led Raiders advanced to the AFC title game, and the first of 7 consecutive winning seasons with Snake at the helm. In 1976, Stabler led the league in passing, finishing the season with a remarkable 103.4 passer rating. At the same time, the Raiders earned the right to represent the AFC in Super Bowl XI, and the Super Bowl Stabler completed 12 of 19 passes for 180 yards as the Raiders easily defeated the Minnesota Vikings 32-14. During his 10 seasons in Oakland, Stabler was named All-Pro twice, All-AFC 3 times, and selected to play in the Pro Bowl 4 times. He was named to the AFC Player of the Year in 1974 and again in 76. Following the 1979 season, the Raiders traded Stabler to the Houston Oilers for quarterback Dan Pastorini. And in his first season as the Oilers field general, Stabler passed for 3,202 yards. It was the second time in his career that he passed for more than 3,000 yards in a single season. Now, Stabler retired after the 3rd game in 1984 after struggling through 2 injury-plagued seasons with the Saints. And when he retired, his 59.85 career passer completion percentage was second only to Joe Montana, who at the time had just played 6 seasons. Stabler's 10 consecutive postseason games with a touchdown pass was also an NFL record. During his 15-year NFL playing seasons, Stabler completed 2,270 passes for 27,938 yards and 194 touchdowns. Now, you would think with numbers like that he would be in the Hall of Fame, right? Well, they didn't put him in the Hall of Fame until 2015 when he was finally indicted into the Hall of Fame. And the name of this article, which was actually written back in November of 2016, this was when the NFL stated that they were not going to give the Stabler family his golden jacket or his ring. And I want to read that to you too, because this is pretty much how they've always shit on the Raiders and the Raider greats, is they would do things like this. Now, the family of the late Ken Stabler will not receive a gold jacket or ring from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, despite his being indicted in August, according to Stabler's daughter, Kendra Stabler Moyes, on November 5th. Now, why, if a player has died before being indicted into the Hall of Fame, won't have a ring or jacket to the man's family? Stabler died July 2015 at 69 after being diagnosed with colon cancer. Now, Kendra added, our family actually asked Hall of Fame Executive Director, Mr. Baker, if we could buy them, and the answer was no. And the excuse was they don't want the family selling it or fighting over it. Now, then Oakland Raiders head coach Jack Del Rio tweeted his support for Stabler's family's push to receive the jacket and ring. You see what I'm saying? On Tuesday, Mike Garofalo, yeah, you guys remember that guy. He's still out there running his mouth, of the NFL Network, provided part of a statement for the Hall of Fame addressing the situation. The portion of the statement just released from the Pro Football Hall of Fame read the Stabler family's desire for a ring and jacket. You know, it presented to the living Hall of Fame members to be worn exclusively by them as evidence and pride that they're of their having been elected to sports' most elite fraternity. At no time in its 53-year history has the Hall of Fame presented either of these personal adornments, and I'm not going to even sit there and try to pronounce that word, or retroactively to a family member of a deceased Hall of Famer. The Hall of Fame believes that the greatest extent possible, it should avoid creating or contributing to the family disputes relative to ownership, as well as the potential public sale or distribution of items intended for the exclusive use by the Hall of Famer. Now, in a 15-year career from 1970 to 1984, mostly with the Raiders, Stabler won an MVP in 1974 and was elected to 4 Pro Bowls and won a Super Bowl over the Minnesota Vikings. So that's pretty much all I'm going to go over with that. So how does this always end up happening to Raiders, man? Especially a guy like this, who literally should have been, he should have been inducted into the Hall of Fame way before 2015, as far as I'm concerned. He should have been inducted while he was still alive.
Yeah.
Because that's how much he meant to not only the NFL, but this Raiders organization as well.
Yeah. Well, it's really sad that the NFL has missed so many times on, Raider greats that passed away, and then they go in the Hall of Fame. So I think that's one of the main key things to me. Like when I look at that, there's a lot of great stuff. Thanks for reading that for everybody. But excuse me. Yeah, I look at it and I'm like, how is it that, the NFL keeps missing on these guys and they pass away, then they induct them in the Hall of Fame, and then their family can't even get a ring or a jacket for their father? I mean, it's pathetic, man. I mean, there's always excuses from the NFL, and it's really sad that they've done this to the Stabler family. And the dude was a legend. I mean, he was in some of the greatest games that's ever been known. I'm going to share this tab here. I want to talk about some of the great games here. Some of the greatest games ever known as far as football, So this is an article. It's pretty good, this was printed back in 2015, but I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just want to mainly focus on some of the games with names. We all know about the Immaculate Reception, that game we lost or whatever. But when you look at this, 1974 Sea of Hands playoff game where Stabler threaded past the Raiders running back Clarence Davis for a touchdown, 2-time defending bowl champion. Davis hung onto the ball despite 3 Dolphins. Now, let me pawing and digging at it. Now, let me state, me reading an article or a paragraph here definitely does not do its justice, because the NFL copyrights and stuff, we can't show footage like the Raider organization should be able to. So if the Raider organization had their stuff together, they should be doing a documentary of all these games in a paragraph and showing us the highlights, and having guys that are still alive, like, Phil Villapiano and George Atkinson, to talk about these games as well. So it's a huge failure on the Raider organization part, in my opinion. And I love the Raiders and stuff, guys. But at the same time, I mean, it's a huge opportunity missed for them to give a little history lesson and maybe put some positivity in the Raider Nation. But that's neither here or there. So I apologize that we're not able to show actual footage. Then there was the Ghost to Post, was against Baltimore Colts, 1977 playoffs, where Stabler found tight end Dave Casper over the middle for 42 yards to set up a field goal and sent the game into overtime. Stabler hit Casper again for the winning touchdown in the second overtime. There was the 1978 Holy Roller, the game against San Diego, when Stabler eluded a sack on the last play long enough to fumble the ball, or it was intentional half pitch, half shot put toward the fullback, Pete Bonanzak, who shoveled it ahead to Casper, who kicked it forward and fell on it in the end zone for a game-winning touchdown. So that was the Holy Roller. And I thought there was one more at least besides the Immaculate Deception, but those are some iconic games. I mean, if we look at this, guys, I mean, we're going to break down some stats and stuff too, but I just want to touch on something. If we look at something, I'm just going to have this on in the background real quick here as I'm kind of BSing or whatever. And because I'm not monetized, if I get flagged, it's kind of like, whatever, guys. So you can't hear that, right? I turned the volume down, right?
Nope, can't hear it.
Okay. So I turned the volume down, but we'll just kind of have that on the background. But, if you look at this and you're like, what it means to be a Raider, you look at all those like games and the history, you know, like recently the NFL, you know, the NFL Network, they just had like America's Greatest Games. They showed, you know, the 1970s. They showed our Super Bowl. They showed the Steelers, you know, 70s era, you know, and a lot of those games in the 70s, I mean, we were right there. And like almost every, if you look at our records, almost every like championship or a run for the Super Bowl, I think it was like 4 years in a row or something, we were in the championship game. And when you break it down and you look at the Immaculate Reception, that was a brawl for the Raiders. And we just got so close, but you know, missed almost every time until finally in 1976. But essentially that night, I would say school football, that quarterback just ran like that. I mean, that was crazy, guys. So, you know, when we look at him and we're old, like, you know, getting old, but the older cats got to see his greatness. They got to be part of Super Bowl wins. I mean, it's tough for us younger fans because we probably don't appreciate it like we really should. We probably do not understand and have the right mindset and respect. Look how dirty he is, man, of how tough nosed, how hard nosed. I mean, just embodying what it meant to be a Raider. And with him, we always had a chance to make a Super Bowl run. We always had a chance to make a Super Bowl run. They may not got it done as much as maybe like we wished they should have, but they were damn close and they were right there in every mix. And some of the greatest games that were ever played in Raiders history, games with names, Ken Stabler was a part of it.
Yeah, and that's why honestly I can't give I don't care if Derek Carr has all the numbers. Derek Carr didn't take us to 5 consecutive AFC championship games. And win a Super Bowl. You know, so literally this was, besides, you know, guys like Daryl LaMonica, I mean, arguably the best Raider quarterback ever to don the silver and black. So it really just bothers the hell out of me that they didn't say anything about him. You know what I mean? It's just, how do you not say anything about this man who literally put it all on the line? And they did it in a complete different era. You know what I mean? This era of football was probably the most brutal era of football that anybody's ever seen, especially with the way these Raiders played. These Raiders were the most feared team in the NFL at the time. And they were scary.
Back, bro. Yeah.
Scary. Motherfuckers did not want to play us back then.
Mm-mm.
We had teams like the 49ers who would cancel preseason games with us because the Raiders hit too hard. And then when you have a guy like this, and man, he threw such a pretty ball. A lefty coming in like this, and I mean, literally was one of the first, if not, you know, close to top 3 guys who came in as a third string quarterback and earned his way to being the starter.
Yeah. Well, you know, and you look at this, I mean, again, what a missed opportunity for the Raiders organization to show highlights, you know, without them having to worry about getting in trouble where I do, to show us how great this guy was, man. So, you know, ad coming up.
We got something going on with UFC.
Yeah, but, you know, so, you know, it's just crazy, man, that like, you know, like, why can't we, besides me being able to get like a card of Ken Stabler, even that's not going to do us justice. Even watching film and breakdowns and highlights, that's not going to do us justice. But why can't like these franchises, if you had a great like Ken Stabler, why can't they do like a highlight and a tribute on their own? Maybe the NFL frowns on it, or you have to let the NFL Network do it. I don't know. But I just think that there's such good footage that's been missed. Look at that pass, man. Good Lord.
Yeah, dropped it right in.
Yeah. So, you know, and I'm sure I'm going to get flagged for this, but I'm not monetized. I don't even care. You know what I mean? Like, you know, right. So, but just sad, man. Talk about sad. I mean, opportunity missed, you know, Cliff Branch, dude. Good Lord, man.
Good Lord.
We got such cheated out of such
he was.
Yeah, dude. We got such well, and that pass. That was a perfect, like, Cliff Branch didn't even have to work for it, bro. All he had to do was hold
his arms out. That thing was a dime, dropped right in, just like this one.
Boom. Oh man. Back shoulder, dude. And a lefty, like Watts Raider was saying earlier. I mean, just intense. Took the hit too. He knew he was gonna take it. He knew he was gonna get hit, but he's like, there's the Dave Casper. Man, probably the true 87, You could
Yep.
say either Dave Casper's the true 87, but honestly, you go back and who was the one? I know it's on this 1973 cards I'm going to give away. Give me a second here. It was
Man.
Was it Horace Jones? No, hold on. I got the list here.
Yeah, he sure did throw a pretty
I
ball,
think-
bro.
I think it was after this cards was the one I was thinking of. But yeah, there's arguments for 87, who was the real 87 back in the day. So, pretty crazy stuff. All right, let's pause on that. Let's kind of we'll pause on this for a minute here, and maybe we'll finish it up while we're talking about some other stuff. Let's kind of look at some stats here and whatnot.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got one that I can actually present. I've got his whole career right here from StatMuse. And I think, this right here, I'll let you go ahead and go over yours. I'm just going to kind of show overall what he did throughout his career. And everybody, you can really look at this here. When you look to see, when he came in 1970, he only played in 3 games. He had 2 completions, 7 attempts. Didn't do very well. But then in 71, he got a little bit more playing time. 14 games played, quite a bit more. 24 completions for 4, out of 48 attempts. 51st percentile is, I guess that would be attempts per game, which is 3.4.
If I forget to pull it up, let me know. Keep going.
But as you can see, as each year progressed, as he went through, he started getting more and more playing time. You see what I mean? He's been playing in 14 games, and then he started to come out of his shell in 1973, where he completed 163 of 260 passes for a 62.7% completion percentage, 1,997 yards at a 7.7 yard average per pass. He was averaging 142.6 yards per game. He had 14 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. And it just pretty much went up from there, except for 75. He had kind of a slump. He threw 16 touchdowns and threw 24 interceptions. But then in 1976, he came out of his shell, possibly being one of the best years he had, with a 66.7 completion percentage, 194 out of 291 for 2,737 yards at a 9.4 yard average. 228.1 yards per game is what he was averaging. 27 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. Arguably probably the best year he had, with his quarterback rating out of 103.4. As a Raider, man, he played 14 games all up until 76, where he played 12. So he started slumping. And that's another thing too. You look at it, guys, there wasn't 17 weeks or 18 weeks back then. There was only 14 weeks, and he was putting up these kind of numbers in just 14 games during a regular season.
Keep talking.
That's why it's all completely misconstrued about, Derek Carr has all the passing yards now. Yeah, but he also got to play. They both played 9 seasons for the Raiders, but he got 3 extra games each season to be able to do that. And he didn't do it until his 9th season. So Kenny Stabler, man, is literally, I don't think I even need to harp on it enough. Definitely the best quarterback to ever don himself in a Raiders uniform. By far, hands down, there's no question. And Derek Carr can have the numbers all he wants, but he didn't play 14 games a year. He played 17 games a year or 16 games a year. So it is what it is. I think this guy deserves a lot more love than what he gets, especially looking at his stats here. He did play for Houston. I did see that question in there from Watts. He played for Houston and the Saints. It's just he didn't play for the Saints for very long because he was injury plagued. I guess he played for him for 3 years. So,
yeah, if you don't mind, keep going. I'm tallying something up, and then I'm gonna figure something out and present it to you guys.
Definitely want to salute this guy, man. He definitely deserves to be remembered. He needs to be glorified, and there definitely needs to be a celebration over this man, because he literally was the staple of what a Raider should, could, and will be. It's everybody from this era, dudes like Phil Villapiano, who luckily we still have right now, who are able to tell stories about this team and about Raider greats that we had, like Ken Stabler himself. I think that we should embrace more of the culture of what Al built instead of trying to remove it like we have been. And I think that, and it's not that we've been trying to remove it, but it seems like the organization has been trying to remove it. They're not posting about any Raider greats anymore. I guess they're all more looking toward the future, but in everything that I believe is what's going on, it seems like they're selling out Al's legacy more toward and more for Mark's legacy, which Mark's legacy happens to be all about money, and that seems to be the only thing that he cares about. So, to me, I think that we're steering in the wrong direction when it comes to where this franchise and where this organization needs to go, and the legacy that we need to keep. Because it's players like this that made this legacy work. It made this legacy what it is. It made it as historic as it was because they all believed in Al's way too. And look at how many championship games they won. Look at how many Super Bowls they won during this era of football. These guys committed to excellence every single solitary day, and they had a really, really, really good man in Al Davis to lead them. And I think that that's what this team lacks now because we don't have a leader. Mark Davis is not a leader. And Mark Davis does need to be blamed for not putting together something for Kenny Snake Stabler, especially on the anniversary here, July 8th of 2023. I mean, we are literally 2 years away from being a decade separated from this individual who made this organization so great. And I think everybody needs to give his family their props. They need to give this man his props. I think we all need to stop fighting amongst each other. And I think that this is a perfect way to bring us all together to understand the greatness of this legacy and the greatness of this team and why we're Raider fans to begin with. And it's nothing that we've seen in the past.
Brother. Well, you know, and Watts knows that this channel was created to bring unity to Raider Nation. It wasn't for money. Wasn't for nothing else, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. Hey, you guys, real quick, I do want to give a shout out to Art White, man. He said, he was there to see Ken Stabler, and I just have a lot of honor and respect for the dudes, that are older than me that was able to see greatness. If you guys wouldn't mind, please go subscribe to my new channel. It's called Hardcore Card Collecting. It's about fandom, memorabilia, cards. When we get done doing the live here, I'm going to go open up 25 packs of Raider cards, but I will let you know, once that channel gets up to 100 subs, I'm going to open this 1973 pack of Raider cards here, and I'm going to give away a complete set of Raider cards. You'll see up on the list, if you guys missed it earlier, that whole list, I'm not going to go over it right now, but I'm going to give away a whole set of these Raider cards to someone in the chat when we do that live. But if you're not subbed to my channel, then, you won't qualify. So with that being said, I did a little math. I want to talk about something here as far as stats go, because everybody says that Derek Carr is better than Ken Stabler, okay? And I respect Derek Carr. I love everything that he did for the Raiders and the Raider organization, I actually, Derek Carr not being a Raider, I actually want to get more Derek Carr cards, but that's just me, so I did a little bit of math here. I'm going to blow it up so you guys can take a look at this here, guys. When we look at, we're just going to go in real quick here to these pop-up ads drive me bonkers. But when we look at this here, let's see if I can blow it up one more time. When I look at this here and you compare the stats between Stabler and Derek Carr, is Derek Carr truly a better quarterback than Ken Stabler? It's something that,
how many more games he had to play just to get above him.
Well, that's the math I was breaking down, brother. So, I don't know if I can blow it up one more time. Like the more you blow it up, then it gets a little crazy. All right, that's better. All right, so we'll take a look at this. So the two things I want to focus on here real quick is you hit the nail on the head. All right. So Derek Carr's at the top. Derek Carr's total yards is 35,222. And then Ken Stabler, number second, 19,078. So when you look at this number right here, it's very convoluted because it makes you think that Derek Carr was a much better quarterback than Ken Stabler. However, you add up these totals of the total games played, okay, because they have a lot more games per season than back in the day. Ken Stabler was 69-26. Look at that percentage for Ken Stabler. And I know we had a star-studded team, okay? So I'll right off the bat, I'll say, yeah, Ken Stabler definitely had a better chance for success than Derek Carr did because he had a lot more stars on his team. But 69-26, so he won more games and only lost 26. I could do the math percentage for win-loss, but I'm not going to do it right now. And then there's Derek Carr, 63-79. So if you add these totals up right here, guys, what you come out to is Derek Carr played 142 games for the Raiders. Kenny Stabler played 95 games for the Raiders. When you break it down and you do the math, so you're like, all right, well, how can we look at this total number right here, 35,000 versus Ken Stabler's 19,000, break it down to see if it's a fair assessment and what it would be. Essentially, you have to do the math. These pop-up ads are going to drive me insane. You have to do the math where you do 35,000 divided by these total games right here, which comes out to 142 games. Okay. And then you have to get a total number from that. Okay. That total number, and you do the math, the total number would be 248. So essentially it's approximately Derek Carr averaged about 248 yards per game. If you do Kenny Stabler, and the math for him, he averaged about 200 yards passing per game. So again, Derek Carr, 248, Kenny Stabler, 200 yards. However, it's a much heavier passing league now with a lot more strict rules now versus back in the day. Back in the day, you could just, truck fools and stuff. The point is this. If you do that and you do the total games of 95, so if we take this math, okay, and we put it in a 95 total game realm, just like Kenny Stabler was, you come out to 23,560 yards for Derek Carr. Again, essentially about 23,500 yards for Derek Carr. For Ken Stabler, you come out to this 19,000, mark. So if we did the math for the same amount of games played, Derek Carr technically is better by about 4,500 yards. Okay. However, the major flip side is the touchdown ratio. So the total touchdown, Derek Carr is 217, right? Now, Ken Stabler has 150, but if you do the math for 95 games, just like what Ken Stabler played, it would come out to 145 touchdowns. So Ken Stabler, even though he had less passing yards, 4,500 less passing yards, he had way more touchdowns when you look at it from a grand scale. If you look at it like, oh, well, he had like 4,500 less yards, but he had 150 touchdowns in a 95 game span, and Derek Carr's average for a 95 span would only be 145 touchdowns. So Derek Carr would be 5 touchdowns less on this when you try to compare apples with apples and the total number of games played, because Ken Stabler sat for a few years as well. So we forget that Ken Stabler, he may have been drafted in 68, but he didn't even come on the scene until like 1970. And I don't even think it was the beginning of the season. So anything you want to say on that?
Just look at the win-loss record. That's all I got to look at, man. 63-79 compared to 69-26-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, yes, he had much better. He had a much better stacked team, but all he did was just win.
Yeah.
5 AFC championship games. Derek Carr, not even one playoff win.
Yep. Well, then,
and Watts puts up another thing, dude. Over here in the chat, man. Watts broke this down. It's not unreasonable because just like Al Davis, Kenny Stabler was part of the blueprint, just like every other great player that was on those teams. The 70s and 80s Raiders should be the blueprint.
Yeah.
God, I love you, Watts.
Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
I know he needs to. We need to do a show with Watts, man. Where you at, Watts? We need to do a group show together, man.
Yeah, it would be, man. I would love to be able to do another show with Watts, man. Watts is
Yeah.
so knowledgeable.
For sure. Shout out to Watts, man. Respect. He's definitely got a great football mind. So
And
that's why I
see,
always
look
love-
again, yeah, but teams ran the ball more back then. You damn right, especially we did.
yeah,
We were running in between the tackles. You know,
Yep.
that's what we love to do.
yeah. That was our kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely, guys. So, all right, let me. I want to kind of go over this real quick. You hit on it, but I just want to double down on a couple things to go over the total lifespan of Ken Stabler. So, or actually, I want to show you guys something here real quick. Share this one. This is a Wikipedia, but essentially Stabler was drafted in the second round. Might need to blow this up for you guys a little bit. Stabler was drafted in the second round in 1968. Okay. Second round, 1968 of the draft. However, Ken Stabler was also drafted in baseball, the New York Yankees in 1966, and then the New York Mets in 1967, and then the Houston Astros in 1968. So, kind of, there's a lot in here. You guys go back and read about it, but essentially, Stabler kind of held out, and Stabler wasn't even. It says right here in 69, Stabler left the Raiders in 69, so it wasn't even really part of the team. And then in November 69, he said, I'll be back for pro football to come. And then in January 1970, that's when Stabler reported to Coach John Madden and then agreed with the Raiders, blah, blah, blah. So he first attracted attention in the 1972 playoff game, and of course, the Immaculate Deception game. But it's just kind of crazy, guys, when you kind of look at it. Drafted 1968. He was also drafted into baseball. Wasn't even really on the team until like 1970, dude. You know what I mean? He pretty much like held out until 1970. So that's kind of a fun fact right there. But then you look at also his overall playing career, right? And his overall stats, and you break this down. I'll make sure you guys see this a little bit with all these stupid pop-up ads. But you break it down from 1970. Look at this. He didn't even like play. So 1970 was like a wash year. 1971, 268, that was a wash year. It really wasn't even until pretty much 1972 he came in, that Immaculate Deception year, and it was I think like halfway through the season or something where he came in, and that's why he only has 524 yards. So right here is 3 years wasted. Not to mention, if you count 1968, 1969, there's another 2 years. So you have almost 5 years wasted with Ken Stabler on our team where they weren't even using him. He was sitting behind George Blanda. And then you scroll down, right? So if you count 1970, really it should be 1968, but 1970, and you go down, he was with the Raiders until 1979. Then the Raiders traded Ken Stabler to the Houston Oilers, who eventually became the Tennessee Titans. Well, technically, they became the Tennessee Oilers at first. It was like for 1 or 2 years they did that, and then eventually became the Tennessee Titans. But the Raiders traded Ken Stabler for, I forget the quarterback they traded, but Stabler went to the Oilers. And that 1980 season, we played the Oilers in the playoffs, and I believe we beat the Oilers right there. And then 81. He played for the Oilers, and then he went to, the New Orleans Saints. But, with his knee problems and stuff, wasn't able to produce a whole lot. But his total career, he had like 27,938 yards. So almost 28,000 yards, not in today's standards, that wouldn't look very appealing, right? You look at it, you're like, 27,000 yards. But again, 5 years of his career was like pretty much wasted, guys. So I hope you remember that. Like, a good portion of his years were just wasted, and that's crazy to me when I think about it. And I'm going to pull this one up. This is one of the last things I want to share with you guys. This right here is the total NFL quarterback passing yards. So it's like, where does, Ken Stabler stand as far as total yards versus other quarterbacks? So Ken Stabler is like ranked 65 on the list in the NFL, that 27,938. But it was also a different time. And about 4 or 5 years of his career was wasted not being utilized as well. So, nevertheless, even if he's ranked 65 all-time passing, list right here, in my opinion, I mean, look at Terry Bradshaw. I didn't even that's funny that Terry Bradshaw is literally right above him at 64 by a couple yards. So, pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy. They're both neck and neck right there, but it was a different time back then. And even if he's ranked 65, I think for all-time quarterbacks and what he did for an organization, I think Ken Stabler should be in the top, I'll say at least 25 quarterbacks to ever play this game. Minimum, I think 25, I think is fair. Even if this number says 65, I think top 20 or 25, I think he should be considered for that. Maybe top 30 max or something. But yeah, what do you think, Raider Critique?
What I think is, I think we've been 8 years separated from this man's passing. Give the man's family the golden jacket and the ring they wholeheartedly deserve, NFL. You guys make enough damn money. You can go ahead and give out one gold jacket and one ring. It's been 8 years since you inducted this man into the Hall of Fame. All right. His family deserves to be able to at least express his legacy. Just like we do, because we're all family too. And I'll tell you what, everything that he's done, he deserves. His family deserves that.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt, man. I mean, I don't know how any, like, if you look at it, bro, and you're like, unless they're just a Raider hater, how anybody could think that, like, not giving this family his jacket and his, ring is something that should be acceptable. I don't know how the Raider organization could think that not to put out, like, rest in peace Kenny Stabler or a tribute video should be acceptable as well. I mean, we got to think. Absolutely. Al Davis just had his birthday on July 4th. It's not an anomaly that Kenny Stabler passed away right after Al Davis's birthday. That's how I knew this was coming. I actually wanted to do the show giveaway, guys, of this pack right now, but I need more time to show prep, and I need to get some subs up. I'm not doing it with my sub count on the other channel right now. We got to get that thing up to 100 subs. If people can't give me a sub over there, dude, like, I don't want to call people out exactly or whatever, but I'm not asking for much, and I'm giving away a lot. It could either, I'll just say this giveaway where I'm giving away a complete Raider set of 1973 tops, which is of the 1972 season. It can either go to a Raider fan or it can go to somebody else that's not a Raider fan. I know who I would rather it go to. I would much rather this go to a Raider fan because that was my passion and idea behind it the entire time. But I'll let you guys be the decision. If you guys don't want to sub over there, that's fine. Somebody else going to get it, and you guys can be left sitting on the sidelines and not get a complete Raider set that I personally bought, handpicked. You guys don't even know the hours that I put into getting all these cards for you guys, let alone it's like over $150 out of my own pocket. I did that for a reason other than, giving you guys something else, because that team and the legacy of what they built and what Kenny Stabler built from that 1973 Topps cards and the 1972 season was unmatched like anything else. And that was the Immaculate Deception year. So I'll just leave it at that. You guys can either join in, participate, or not, and that's fine. Either way you guys want to rock, I'm all good with. And these highlights, man. I mean, he's throwing dimes, dude. Like, John Madden had said something where he's like, Ken
Stabler, watching it, dude. It's just like I'll go quiet.
Yeah, he said Ken Stabler would get bored if they were winning or something. Like, he needed like his back against the wall, and that like he would essentially let Stabler like call his own plays and stuff like that, where like he put that responsibility on Stabler and whatnot. And that's when speaking of which, shout out to Mikey Raider, dude.
Shout out to Mikey Raider, dude.
Send him a link
on the feed.
Send him a link. See if he'll join us for like 5 minutes, and just, even if you come on for like 5 or 10 minutes. Do you need it, or you got it?
I've got it.
Or I can try to do it. But yeah. So the point is, guys, is just Ken Stabler really epitomized what it meant to be a Raider. You know, he liked to party, and we all know that portion of it. The football life, you know, I think they really portrayed a lot of the partying versus like, you know, more of the like, you know, how much this guy, you know, and a highlight reel of like, you know, everything that he did for the Raider organization, you know. Let's not forget this guy was almost like, you know, it was almost to a point where it was like, oh, you just sit there on the sideline. We don't want you to ever start, kind of thing. We got George Blanda, and then when he came on the scene finally, it was like, holy cow, we got a really great quarterback here. And we'd even touch on his college career. I mean, this dude went up against what's his name? The you know, the guy from that Duck show, the father was the quarterback. I think it was like Oklahoma or something like that. But yeah, Ken Stabler went to Alabama. Ken Stabler, I believe Ken Stabler took over for Joe Namath, if I remember right. I think Joe Namath was the quarterback for Alabama before Ken Stabler took over. So just, you know, a lot of crazy stuff. When you look at the history and it's like, dude, how have we forgotten about this guy? Like, seriously, because he passes away, because there's not enough video footage of him, because, you know, the Raiders can't do a tribute video to Ken Stabler. We can't honor this great player that helped the Raiders like get our first Super Bowl trophy. And how come nobody is talking about him after all these years and the greatness that he did? And for me, my Babe Ruth card for my Raider card collection is the one and only Ken Stabler. Like, I love Bo Jackson. I've got a lot of Bo Jackson cards, you know? And again, this card, this rookie card here, even though it's 73, they consider a rookie card because it's the first print of Ken Stabler. This will be given out when I give away that complete set. And so will an Art Shell card as well. Rookie card, Art Shell rookie card. So that's pretty awesome, guys. That someone's going to get a Ken Stabler rookie card and Art Shell rookie card when I do that show. And I'll open up this pack. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe I can get open up these packs are expensive, man. 1973 tops, bro. Like, look at that, you know. And hopefully it's sealed. I think this is legit, man, because sometimes you can get scammed and stuff like that. But definitely excited to do
hope
that.
you didn't get scammed, hardcore. Let's hope you didn't get scammed.
Some people, you know, they can open these and reseal them, but it was worth it, dude. You know, there's like very few PSA 10 perfect graded, you know, Ken Stabler cards. That would be like my dream, is one day to own that, because if I look at all the Raider players, there's a lot of Raider greats and stuff, but really at the top of the list, it has to be the guy that led us to our first Super Bowl win, you know. And if you really honor the history of the Raiders and what it means to be a Raider, the Raiders were so dang close every year, going to championship after championship, couldn't get it done. And then they finally did. And with John Madden, rest in peace with John Madden, you know, the football game that a lot of us younger fans love, you know, with played Madden, you know, everything about that legacy has to do with this guy. And like, all I can do other than maybe watch some clips here and there is like, shoot, I'm going to get his rookie card, and I'm going to have at least some Ken Stabler cards for my own collection. And I want to try to pay back and give those some of those out to others as well in the Raider Nation. So anything else you want to touch on as far as Ken Stabler and the show, brother?
No, bro, I think we pretty much did it. I think we did it justice. We did the best that we could, especially being a couple guys who didn't happen to be living at the time when the man was playing. You know, I've actually got to get going, but I appreciate you for letting me jump on here, man, and just kind of spit off some stats and hopefully able to spread out a little bit more Raider legacy, you know, Al Davis style legacy, not this new crap that we're seeing nowadays. And, you know, also on my channel, man, I'm giving away quite a few of these coins right here, man. I've got 2 more that I'm giving away. And, of course, it's got all of our Raider greats on the back as well. Dude, this coin right here exuberates what it is to be an NFL, a Raider great, you know, and also our appreciation made by Raider Nation for Raider Nation, because, man, we deserve it. And so do these great NFL, these great Raider players that we have had in this franchise over the years. You know, they definitely deserve to be honored. And I think that we do the best that we can to honor these guys, man. We're doing a lot more than what a lot of these new Las Vegas fans are doing. And I think, and even the organization itself, which is pathetic, but at least if you're going to leave, you know, the legacy to be promoted by real men, at least you left it to us because we'll make sure the job gets done.
To some degree, but to another degree, I mean, we're working full-time jobs and doing this because we love our team, right?
Absolutely,
And
man. And dudes
we
like
don't have
Violator
the
and Captain
copyrights to show the film, right?
Right.
Hire me for the Raider organization to be in charge of the video editing and stuff. I mean, they usually do a good job, but I'm just saying, like, if the Raider organization could put together I mean, like, you can't do a 5-minute highlight reel or tribute, let alone
if they
an
can
hour or
do a
2-hour-long show.
CGI
Put
of
me
Al
in charge,
Davis
dude.
versus the NFL.
I will make sure content gets put out that Raider Nation could enjoy every time, whether it's someone's passing, their anniversary, or whatever it might be. I will make sure we're being fed the right way. Instead of this, that we, the Raider Nation, can't do it because we don't have the copyrights and we'll get flagged and we'll get in trouble. So it's horse manure. We can't even honor these guys the right way, you know. And I'll probably this show will probably get flagged for even showing the stuff I did, but it's horse manure. That I feel you, bro. We are honoring him the best we can, but it could be done to a much higher level if people had their stuff together and they figured out a way to honor the greats a lot better than they are, because this is not right. And the NFL should be ashamed of themselves if they're holding back, not honoring these guys as well, because as time goes on, even the non-Raider players are going to pass away, and it's going to be really tough, in my opinion. The Joe Montanas, the Jerry Rice, the Jim Kellys, the Dan Marinos, one day those guys will no longer be on this earth, unfortunately. And to those that don't honor them and their teams don't honor those players the right way, well, shame on them and their own fandom, because that's something that should be honored in their legacy and part of their franchise forever.
Well, if the NFL can make a CGI 30 for 30 about Al Davis versus the NFL against Pete Rozelle, I don't think it would kill them to do a 5-minute trailer or a 5-minute tribute to the greatest Raider quarterback to ever play the game in Kenny Stabler. And that, or even if the Raiders organization would at least come up with something. You see them come up with things all the time. They'll do press conferences, or they'll do players days out, and they'll sit there and they'll post things like that, but they can't do nothing for the guy who put this organization literally in contention for a Super Bowl damn near every year he played.
Absolutely.
It's asinine.
And controversial games. Like, see, if we did, here's the problem, guys. If we had control of the film, we could show the immaculate deception. We could show the next year when the Steelers iced up their complete field and we were playing on a sheet of ice with Lynn Swann and George Atkinson taking Lynn Swann's head off that next year. We could show the timeline in the history the way that it should be done for the Raider Nation, for the Raiders, and for NFL. But instead, all we can do is talk about it because we're so scared to use any copyrighted film that we'll get flagged. And we don't even have the archives that they have. So, with that being said, we had Stephanie. Shout out to you, Stephanie69. She said, Steelers were great rivals, such iconic games between these two teams. Facts. It is. Absolutely. I mean, keep it real. I appreciate you, Stephanie, and everybody else. I might be hardcore Raider, but we're all hardcore Raider fans. I might have the name, but like I've said before, this channel was created for hardcore Raider fans, like Watts. There's no question that I know Watts' loyalty, that he's a hardcore Raider fan. Shout out to you, Watts. I know you want Jacob signed just like we all do. I know there's clowns out there saying
we let that guy walk, bro.
I know there's clowns out there saying don't sign Jacobs, and they're saying the most horse manure hogwash that I've ever heard in my entire life. So I'll leave it at
His
that.
name's Steven, by the way.
I'll have this be a
Steven
positive
Honani.
show, bro. But
that's a nice name, dude.
We're in the same boat, bro. We're in the same boat, Watts. You know that, man. And the real ones know what it means to build a true team to win a championship. And this organization hasn't done it for a long, long time. And, this organization, a lot of questions of what's happening right now, but we'll see. I'm going to try to stay positive here. I've been a little fired up at times, guys. To some degree, I apologize, but to some degree, I don't, because I'm tired of losing and I'm tired of mistakes being made where we keep being the laughing stock of the NFL. So I'll leave it at that, man. This organization has to do things the right way, and we got to keep our stud players, and those stud players can help us win championships, not just single plural. So, and I'll leave it at that. Anything else you want to say, Raider Critique? You guys make sure you guys go sub to Raider Critique. If you're not subbed over there, appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, I'm 4 subs away from 600, y'all, and I've been doing this since 2009. Please help your brother out, man. Go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and jump in the chat during my lives to get one of these Raider Critique patches that you can hook right here up on your jersey if you want to, but that will get you qualified to be winning one of 2 more of these coins on my channel during my lives. So if you guys want to go and check that out, go subscribe to the channel, go participate in the chat, get a patch, and get registered to win, and hopefully win one of these coins. Now, I'm also, for the people who are not going to win, which there are going to be a few, I'm going to guide you guys to the source. And I'm going to let you go ahead and talk to the man where I get my own personal coins myself. And the dude's a great dude. So just, hey, man, stay tuned to the channel, man, and I'll be dropping that information.
Awesome, dude. I love you, brother, man. It's great to have you on here. Chopped it up. Some Ken Stabler. We'll have to get a group show together. I know Raider Dave, we were talking. I think he wants to do a group show. Maybe we can get Raider Watts on here or something like that. But, we should definitely bring back the group shows. I know had some requests from some of our guests and, those in the chat that want to see some group shows from the OGs that started this. Make no mistake about it. There was only one channel that started the group shows. Well, we'll include Raider Ben, but when we branched out, it was this channel right here that started that to create unity for Raider Nation. All these other coattail riders, make no mistake about it, they rode all of our coattails. And when we started this together, me, Critique, Watts, Raider Dave, it was to bring unity to Raider Nation and to bring a bunch of guests on and have, a variety of opinions. And, I'll just leave it at that. And I'll let you guys know that the OGs know what we were doing. And you guys want to do that again, I'll always be willing to chop it up. I've been fired up at times, and rightfully so, okay? But to my homies, the ones like I mentioned, I always consider those my brothers. And I'll never attack them. If I'm coming off the handle, I'm not going for any of my brothers. But there's others out there that got it twisted for the Raiders and the Raider Nation, and they've more focused on money and clickbait than they are of what we were building to begin with. So to the coattail riders, keep riding the coattails, brothers, and we see you and your fakeness a mile away. So
damn right, man. We can smell you.
That's right.
We can definitely smell you.
Yep.
But hey, love y'all, man. Thank y'all so much. And don't forget, man, you got to go over to the Hardcore Card Collecting channel as well, man. He's got a lot of good stuff over there. I've won quite a few cards already from him. I can't be hoarding all this stuff to Molly. One of the luckiest guys I know. He's been winning too. So come on, man, go over there and join us, and let's go ahead and at least have some type of positivity going on within the Raider Nation, especially the way that we've all been divided.
Hey, dude, that's why I did it, man. I'm going to open up 25 more packs of cards. As soon as we get done here, I'll give it like 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go live on my other channel, Hardcore Card Collecting. Guys, make sure you sub over there. This whole thing is all Raider cards, 25 packs. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I do it, man, or why I'm doing it, is because it brings some joy to me. It's positive. I don't have to talk about the Raiders and my frustration, and it's all good. So we had Raider Dave on there from Grimecast Media the other day. He did a great job. It's kind of a longer show, but I went in, edited it, tried to cut up some clips for you guys. We'll do a giveaway. Okay. We'll do a giveaway at the end of that show. I'm going to do after I open up these cards, where we'll have another quantity 5-pack. You'll pick numbers 1 through 8, and you'll get one of these pack of cards that I've randomly put together. And yeah, hopefully someone gets some cool cards out of that. I've given away over $500 out of my pocket in cards, and the Raider plaque we gave away. And then, gonna give this away too once we get to 100 subs over there, which is the entire list of 1972 Raiders that's on here, dude. The list: George Atkinson, Pete Bonanzac, Fred Blendikoff, George Blanda, Bob Brown, Willie Brown, Raymond Chester, Marv Hubbard, Horace Jones, Carlton Oates, Jim Otto, Art Shell rookie, Mike Ciano, Charlie Smith, Ken Stabler rookie, Jack Tatum, Art Thomas, Gene Upshaw, Phil Villapiano, and then Namia Wilson. It's like, I'm serious, dude. Like, if you listen to all those names and the cards I'm giving out, it's like one of the greatest like Raider years you can have. A whole Raider set I'm going to give away to you guys. So you guys be there, sub or not, and someone else going to get it. So I don't care. You ain't got to pay nothing out of pocket. So appreciate you guys, man. And again, rest in peace, Ken Stabler, everybody that joined in here. Appreciate you guys. I'm Hardcore Raider, the Raider Critique. Make sure you guys sub over there as well. And as always, man, there's only one nation. That's Raider Nation. Hardcore Raider out.
Rest in peace, man. Thank you
RIP.
so much for everything you do, Hardcore, for the nation, bro.
All right. Appreciate you too,
You're a
bro.
gentleman
Much
and a
love,
scholar,
dude.
bro.
You too, man.